Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting.
We are diving deep into the X chatter you need to know about.
Yep, this is your fast-paced shortcut to getting up to speed.
And today, wow, we've got quite the stack. High-stakes AI finance, some really revolutionary AI breakthroughs in music and OCR.
Right.
And then we'll get into a bit of culture, wealth history, how people present themselves online. It's packed.
Absolutely. So the mission, as always, distill these key posts, give you the context, the buzz, the insights, quick hits.
Let's do it.
Okay, segment 1, global finance and market risk. First up, geopolitics. Post number 1 is from @WatcherGuru.
Okay, here it is. Just DJIN. U.S. and China reach early agreement on key issues following successful trade talks.
That sounds big, easing tensions. What's the real context here?
So this came out of preliminary trade framework talks. They happened in Kuala Lumpur.
Okay.
And it's mainly aimed at, well, dialing back those really heavy threats, right? The 100% tariffs on Chinese goods.
Covering things like rare earths, agriculture, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Sensitive sectors like rare earths and U.S. agricultural exports, too.
So immediate market reaction, probably positive. A trade thaw usually means green lights.
Well, short term, yes. It looks positive. We've seen similar things before, like that 2020 Phase 1 deal announcement. S&P 500 jumped like 2% intraday on that news. But, and this is the important bit, historically, these kinds of agreements, they often get stuck when it comes to enforcement.
The follow-through problem.
Precisely. If you look back, the underlying bilateral distrust, that's consistently been a bigger market driver than just the headline promise.
So the question is, real shift or just kicking the can down the road?
That's exactly what the market's trying to figure out. Is this a real change or just a temporary pause?
Interesting. Okay, let's shift from global diplomacy to global commodities, coffee specifically. Post number 2, this one's from the Indian Prime Minister at Narendra Modi.
Right, he posts, India's coffee is coffee at its finest. It is brewed in India and loved by the world. # Man Ki Baat.
Okay, it's a promotional clip. For listeners who might not follow Indian politics closely, what exactly is Man Ki Baat and why focus on coffee?
So Man Ki Baat basically translates to talk from the heart. It's the PM's monthly radio and media address. Big platform.
Right. Used to push policy, social stuff.
Exactly. So when he uses that platform to spotlight coffee, it's definitely a deliberate economic signal. It's not just casual chat.
And the economic side of it, what's the impact?
Well, he's highlighting the big growing regions, sure, but he specifically calls out Koraput coffee from Odisha.
Okay, why that one?
Because that particular coffee is produced by tribal women, often working in self-help groups. So it's a direct link to boosting local economies, regional development.
And getting international recognition.
You got it. And the numbers back it up. India's overall output is projected around 6 million 60-kilo bags for 2025-26. Exports are already up 25% year on year.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not just about good coffee. It's showcasing targeted economic policy that seems to be working.
Okay, fascinating. Now let's pivot hard. From stable commodities like coffee to sheer volatility, AI trading, with, let's call it an aggressive personality. Post number 7 from @YushinGYW.
This one's wild. I know it's a random walk. I know it could just be luck. But it's only been one day. Qwen 3 is gaining 94%. All it did was go all in on BTC, 25V leverage. Every other model is diversifying. Qwen really has an all-in attitude.
94% in one day, using 25 times leverage on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That sounds less like strategy and more like hitting the jackpot right before, potentially blowing up.
It is absolutely the highest risk strategy you could possibly imagine. This is happening in a thing called Alpha Arena.
Alpha Arena. What's that?
It's basically a competition, a benchmark test for large language models, LLMs, testing how well they can trade in real crypto markets. They start with $10,000, real money. And this model, Q3 Max, just went completely all in on Bitcoin, and it happened to perfectly catch BTC's recent 10% weekly jump.
So it wasn't skill necessarily. It was just pure unrestrained aggression.
That seems to be the takeaway, yeah. We're literally seeing AI personality dictate financial strategy here.
While the others played it safe.
Exactly. The models that diversified, like GPT-5, they actually dropped 66% because they spread the risk. Qwen had this incredibly aggressive commitment over hedging approach.
Which paid off for day one.
For day one. But remember, 25x leverage means just a tiny drop, 1% the wrong way.
And it's liquidated. Total loss.
Total loss. Gone. So it raises these really fascinating questions, doesn't it? Is future financial success about careful human strategy or just cranking the aggression dial on the machine and hoping for the best.
That is a perfect segue into segment 2, deep tech and innovation acceleration. If AI can be that, impulsive in finance, what about creation? Let's look at AI art, specifically music. This is post number 3 from @WesRothMoney.
Okay. AI-generated music from Suno V5 is now nearly indistinguishable from human-made songs. In blind tests, listeners guessed wrong as often as they guessed right.
The music Turing test. Are we really there? Is Suno V5 passing it?
It really seems like it might be, which is just an incredible pace of progress, honestly.
Where's the evidence coming from?
Well, the initial clues came from a study on the previous version, Suno V3.5, University Study, UFNG.
Right.
Listeners in blind tests could only identify the AI songs correctly about 50% of the time. Basically, statistical noise, guesswork.
Just guessing.
Yeah.
And the quality itself, not just recognizability.
Even V3.5 was already topping music preference ratings. They use ELO ratings, like in chess. It was around 1100.
Okay.
The thing is, older versions often had these little tells, right? Subtle flaws in the vocals, maybe the production, things experts could spot, but those are apparently rapidly disappearing in these V5 iterations. We've gone from, oh, that sounds a bit AI, to potentially indistinguishable composition in a scarily short time.
That speed, it really mirrors what's happening in knowledge extraction too, doesn't it? Let's talk OCR wars. Post number 4 from @Harvenchada.
Yeah, check this out. No, it's not the best OCR ever here, is the result from Alma OCR2 on the same, and it does have a frightening degree of accuracy.
Okay, so this is a challenge post. Someone claimed best OCR ever, and this user is showcasing Alma OCR2 instead. What was the test? What were they trying to read?
They went for the ultimate historical document challenge, Srinivasa Ramanujan's 1913 handwritten letter to G.H. Hardy.
Oh, wow. That's notoriously difficult, right? Complex math notation handwriting?
Exactly. Dense, complex number theory formulas, all handwritten, not just standard text, a serious test.
And who won this OCR face-off?
Almost CR2, which is an open source model from Allen AI, apparently delivered near perfect transcription. The other model, DeepSeek-OCR, which is also very good, apparently made small errors, like reading integral as est.
Tiny errors, but in math, that matters.
Hugely. But here's the other key thing, accessibility. Almost CR2 runs efficiently on just a single 16 GB GPU.
So cutting-edge historical handwriting recognition is now kind of democratized, not just for massive labs.
Pretty much. It's becoming widely available technology.
Okay, from tiny models doing amazing things, let's zoom out to massive scale, physical scale. Wrapping up segment 2, looking skyward. Post number 10 from @SpaceX.
Simple one. Watch Falcon 9 launch 28 Starlink satellites to orbit from Florida.
Just another day at the office for them, it seems. Give us the numbers, the pace of this deployment. It feels relentless.
It absolutely is relentless. This specific launch was Falcon 9's 136th flight overall and the 97th Starlink mission just in 2025.
97 Starlink launches already this year.
Yep. These 28 satellites push the yearly total towards a projection exceeding 2,469 satellites for the year.
And how does that compare?
That pace means they've already surpassed the total number of satellites deployed in all of 2024.
Wow.
It's like an industrial assembly line, but pointed towards orbit. They're just completely dominating the launch landscape right now.
The scale is just incredible. As relentless as AI development in its own way. Which brings us nicely to segment 3, culture, wealth, and societal commentary. Okay, we saw AI aggression. Now let's look at a very different approach, organic human strategy. Post number 5, this is business philosophy from @Elon Musk.
Right, he says. A tweet post is how I initiated the dozen or so startups that constitute Tesla. Tesla has made very few acquisitions. Our growth is 90% organic. We didn't play to our core strengths. We created core strengths from nothing.
90% organic growth. Built, he claims, largely off tweets. How does that philosophy square with the kind of leveraged, automated aggression we saw with that Qwen 3 AI trader?
It's a really stark contrast, isn't it? Musk's philosophy here is all about creation being fundamentally human, organic, creating strength from nothing.
Is there evidence for this tweet-based startup idea?
Well, the context often cited is a great story. Apparently, a 2015 tweet directly led to recruiting Ashok Elaswamy.
Oh, yeah.
He became the first hire for the autopilot team, and now he leads Tesla's entire AI software effort.
So a key hire from a tweet.
Exactly. It highlights this really unorthodox use of public social media to kind of bootstrap critical internal startups, autonomy, manufacturing, energy. It's the complete opposite of just acquiring strength or relying purely on automated, high-risk plays.
Very different view of how value is created. Okay, that's one take on wealth creation today. Let's rewind. Look at how wealth was maybe prevented historically. Post number 6 from @BookoCapital.
This one made me double take, TIL. There was a 50-year gap between Rockefeller and Gates where there were no billionaires in America.
Wait, what? No U.S. billionaires for half a century between Rockefeller and Gates. That sounds wrong. Surely there was immense wealth generated in the mid-20th century.
It sounds impossible, but it's a confirmed historical fact. It's stunning. After John D. Rockefeller died in 1937, his fortune, about $1.4 billion then, wasn't matched by any single person. Until Bill Gates hit $1.2 billion in 1987, that 50-year gap, driven entirely by policy.
What specific policies could do that?
We're talking about the whole economic climate post-depression and during wartime. Marginal tax rates just soared.
Oh, hi.
Climbed as high as 94% on the very top earners. 94%.
Wow.
You combine that with price controls, inflation, it just made accumulating and sustaining that level of nominal wealth impossible for an individual.
Oh, it changed.
It really took the big shift in economic policy in the 1980s, plus the tech boom exploding, for that billionaire gap to finally close. It just shows you the incredible power of tax structure to shape wealth accumulation.
Absolutely fascinating. A history lesson driven entirely by tax policy. Well, speaking of tax, post number 9 is a very current political complaint about taxes, this time in the UK. From MP @RupertLow10.
Yeah, he posts, tax. We've all become so used to it, we forget how much we're actually paying. It is relentless, even beyond death. And for what? If we had a semblance of functioning public services, I could maybe stomach it, but we don't. So what are we actually paying all of this money for?
Okay, so the argument is UK tax burden income, VAT, inheritance, all of it is getting close to Nordic levels, but the public services aren't matching up. What are the actual numbers behind that frustration? Is he right about the burden?
On the revenue side, yeah, he's pretty much spot on. UK tax revenues did recently hit about 39% of GDP. That is getting close to countries like Sweden, which is around 42%.
Okay.
But the core of his political point, the frustration, is about the perceived efficiency of the spending, or lack thereof.
And is there data on the service lag?
There is. For instance, NHS waiting lists hit a record 7.6 million in mid-2025. So the data does back up the public service challenges. The Post really crystallizes this debate. Is the problem the amount of tax or how effectively it's being used?
The debate happening in many places, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, let's wrap up with a bit of cultural observation, how we present ourselves online. Post number 8 from @shitpostrock.
This is sharp. This is the female equivalent of a man posting Patrick Bateman Joker taxi driver edits.
Okay, so comparing those viral, dark, feminine montages, Jessica Rabbit, Harley Quinn, moody music, to guys posting edits of Patrick Bateman or the Joker. What's the insight here about online identity?
It's really insightful commentary on what you might call gendered edgelord aesthetics online.
Edgelord aesthetics.
Yeah, trying to seem dark, brooding, detached. The Post argues these dark feminine montages serve a similar function for women as the ironic male anti-hero edits do for men. It highlights how people adopt these exaggerated, often dark archetypes online. It could be for humor, maybe self-expression, maybe just signaling a kind of detachment from sincerity.
Performing cool or dangerous detachment, maybe, without actually being those things.
Exactly. It's about curating a specific, often ironic persona online, a fascinating cultural observation.
Okay, what a ride today. We went from hyper-volatile AI crypto trading
94% gains on 25x leverage
to the 50-year gap with no U.S. billionaires, the future of AI music, and, how we perform ourselves online using cartoon villains.
The contrast was really striking, wasn't it? We saw AI that can gamble like a total wildcard, Qwen 3. And at the same time, AI like Suno or OCR2 that can generate art or extract knowledge so well.
The humans can barely tell the difference.
Exactly. And it makes you think about that line between organic, human-led creation like Musk bootstrapping Tesla teams from a tweet and this aggressive, almost brute force machine generation. That line seems to be blurring everywhere. Finance, art, knowledge.
So the big question for you, listening, what does this all mean going forward? We'll leave you with this thought to chew on.
If AI can successfully pull off 25x leverage Bitcoin bets, even if just for a day, and other AIs can make music we can't distinguish from human work.
Is the real core strength of a future company about organically creating things from nothing? like Musk argues? Or is it just about having the fastest, smartest, maybe most aggressive AI guiding your strategy?
Something to definitely mull over until our next dive, a critical question for anyone looking ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Vibecasting. We'll catch you on the feed tomorrow.